What if I told you most of the world you experience isn't real, at least not in the way you think? That the reality you're seeing, touching, even believing in is only a fraction of what's actually happening. Every day, your mind filters out millions of details. Your brain decides what matters and what doesn't, often without your awareness. But what if the ignored layer isn't just unimportant? What if it's shaping everything around you? You see a cup, a table, a person walking, and you assume that's reality. But every perception is a construction. Your senses, your attention, your memory, they are not neutral. They are storytellers. Tiny events slip by unnoticed, a subtle gesture, a flicker in the sky, a sound you barely register. Yet, these micro-events ripple out, influencing choices, emotions, even future outcomes. Patterns exist everywhere, but you rarely see them. Synchronizations, repetitions, coincidences, the threads connecting events, quietly structure your reality. What you focus on grows stronger, not metaphorically, literally, in the sense that your attention directs perception. The world responds, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, to the mind that notices. How much of your life is automatic, assumed, or ignored? What would it look like if you questioned everything you thought was stable? Even the walls around you might be more fluid than they appear. There's always a threshold between what you notice and what you ignore. Step closer. Observe the tiny details, the barely there sounds, the movement in the corner of your eye. This is where most people never venture. Now let's stretch the idea. Your waking mind is only part of the story. At night, your subconscious continues noticing, weaving connections, creating experiences you aren't fully aware of. Dreams are reality's rehearsal space, a reflection of what slips past daytime awareness. In dreams, you can practice noticing the unnoticed. Lucid dreaming trains your awareness to see hidden patterns, subtle shifts, the impossible made real. It's a mirror for how you can approach waking reality with curiosity, attention, and presence. Pay attention to the smallest details around you. What normally goes unnoticed? What patterns emerge? You might discover that reality is far richer and far stranger than you imagined. The reality you're ignoring isn't gone. It's waiting for you to see it. Observation is the gateway. Awareness is the key. Start noticing and watch as the hidden layers of your world slowly reveal themselves. Most people look at the world as if it's finished, static, defined, as if reality is this fixed stage and they're just walking across it, following marks someone else set down. But that's not how your mind works, and it's definitely not how reality behaves when you pay close attention. Your brain is constantly guessing, predicting, filling in gaps. You assume you're seeing, but most of what you experience is prediction stitched together with tiny scraps of sensory input. You're not observing the world, you're interpreting it. Think about how often your mind jumps to conclusions without proof. You hear a tone in someone's voice and instantly build an entire emotional narrative. You glimpse a shadow and decide it's a person. You remember something that never actually happened because your brain needed the story to feel complete. These aren't glitches. This is the mechanism that constructs your version of the world. And every mind constructs a different one. If two people can stand in the same room and live totally different realities, whose version is real? Maybe both. Maybe neither. Maybe reality isn't a single thing, but a shifting negotiation between attention, expectation, and perception. And if that's true, then what else is your mind creating without your permission? Most people never ask that question. They're too used to trusting their perception. But once you start examining the cracks, the seams become impossible to ignore. The The moment you realize how much of your reality is built rather than observed, everything gets more fluid, more open, more alive, something you can influence instead of something happening to you. You begin noticing the invisible edits, the shortcuts, the assumptions, and once you see the edits, you start wondering what the unedited version looks like. The version hiding behind habit and expectation. This is where the shift begins. Not in dreams yet. Right here, awake, in the space where your mind quietly decides what's allowed into your reality and what gets cut out. Everyday objects, conversations, and moments pass by without your full attention. The subtle interactions between people, the small shifts in the environment, the micro expressions you barely notice, all of it quietly shapes your experience. Most of it goes unseen, yet it has a profound effect on the way your day unfolds. Think about the sounds you ignore, the smells, the light changing across a room. Your mind filters these out, but they influence your emotions and decisions more than you realize. What if noticing these small details could give you insight into patterns you normally miss? Even the way you move through space is structured by unnoticed cues. A slight change in posture, a glance, a hesitation guides the rhythm of your interactions. These invisible nudges create consequences that ripple out far beyond the moment. The world is full of signals you rarely perceive. Subtle gestures, fleeting expressions, and small coincidences carry meaning if you choose to observe them. When you start paying attention, you begin to see connections that others overlook. What seems random may actually be part of an intricate, unnoticed pattern. Synchronicities, recurring symbols, and repeating events are not always accidents. They are the hidden threads of reality, quietly weaving themselves together. Your attention is a tool. Where you focus it changes the way events unfold around you, not in a magical sense, but in the tangible sense that noticing and acting with awareness shifts outcomes, sometimes in subtle ways that accumulate into something significant. The threshold of perception is wider than most people realize. There is more happening than meets the eye, more influencing your life than your conscious mind registers. Observation is the key to uncovering this hidden layer. The next time you walk through a familiar space, pay attention to the overlooked details. Notice the patterns, the tiny shifts, and the hidden interactions. Reality is richer than most people experience, and the world is full of hidden layers waiting to be seen. Consider the ways your assumptions shape what you perceive. You see what you expect to see, and your brain fills in gaps with familiar patterns. This makes life efficient, but it also blinds you to subtleties that could reveal something new or unexpected. Even small moments of curiosity can reveal hidden structures. A glance in the corner of a room, a pause in conversation, or a faint sound in the distance can suddenly shift your understanding of a situation. These overlooked signals carry more weight than you might realize. Your emotions act like lenses, coloring reality. Joy, anxiety, or anticipation can make ordinary details stand out or fade into the background. Your internal state filters the world, highlighting some things while hiding others, often without your awareness. The environment itself interacts with you in quiet ways. Lighting, textures, and spatial arrangements influence your attention and mood. The world is continuously shaping your perception even as you move through it unconsciously. Patterns emerge when you slow down. Repeating actions, recurring coincidences, or subtle connections that escape casual notice all hint at a deeper underlying order. Awareness allows you to perceive these threads and see how they guide outcomes. Observation is active. It is not just looking, it is noticing relationships, movements, and consistencies that usually go unseen. By cultivating attention, you begin to understand the hidden logic of everyday life. Every day offers countless opportunities to uncover the unnoticed. The more you practice seeing the small shifts, the more you start to perceive the structure beneath what appears random or mundane. Awareness is the bridge between the obvious and the hidden. The more intentional your attention, the richer and more interconnected your experience of reality becomes. Science has shown that your perception is not a direct feed from the outside world. It is a reconstruction. Your brain takes incomplete information from your senses and builds a coherent story, filling in the missing pieces with predictions shaped by memory and expectation. Neuroscientists call this predictive processing. Instead of reacting to reality, your mind is constantly anticipating what it thinks reality should be. Most of the time, it guesses correctly. When it doesn't, you experience those brief moments of confusion, surprise, or déjà vu where the world feels slightly out of place. Your brain filters out the vast majority of sensory data to keep you from being overwhelmed. You receive far more information than you consciously perceive. Vision alone takes in millions of bits per second, yet you only register a tiny fraction. What disappears into the background doesn't stop influencing you, it simply bypasses awareness. Attention is limited. It functions like a spotlight, illuminating only a few pieces of information at a time. Everything outside that spotlight continues to shape your behavior unconsciously. Scientists refer to this as non-conscious processing, the silent work your mind does without you noticing. Even your sense of time is a construction. Your brain stitches together separate moments into a seamless flow. It edits out delays, smooths over gaps, and creates the illusion of continuity. Reality feels stable and consistent because your mind works hard to make it appear that way. When you understand how much of your experience is built internally, the world becomes more flexible. You realize the boundary between perception and imagination is thinner than it seems. Your brain is already generating most of what you think is out there. The question then becomes, if your mind is constructing reality moment by moment, what else is it capable of revealing when you begin paying attention to the pieces you normally ignore? Have you ever wondered why certain moments feel charged with meaning while others pass completely unnoticed? Could these moments be glimpses into layers of reality that most people ignore? What if the world around you is full of signals you are simply not equipped to perceive without training your attention? Are coincidences really random, or are they subtle patterns waiting to be noticed? Consider how your senses limit your experience. We see only a narrow band of light, hear only a fraction of sound, and feel only certain vibrations. What exists beyond your perception that quietly shapes your reality? Could your unconscious mind be aware of these hidden layers, even when you are not? If every action you take is influenced by information you never consciously notice, what does that mean about the decisions you make each day? How much of life is automatic? And how much could change if you became fully aware of the subtle currents around you? What patterns would you discover if you slowed down, observed closely, and questioned everything you assume to be stable? Could the unseen world hold the answers to questions you didn't even know you were asking? What if learning to notice these hidden signals is the key to understanding reality in a way most people never experience? Understood. Here's part 9. Transitioning from questions to more descriptive and reflective narration. Preparing to introduce dreams and subconscious awareness. As you begin to notice the hidden layers of reality, you start to see how much your perception shapes the world around you. Small details, previously invisible, begin to stand out. A flicker of light, a subtle shift in a person's expression, a pattern in the environment you had never noticed before. These details quietly influence your experience in ways you rarely realize. Your mind constantly fills in gaps, creating a seamless version of reality that feels complete. Yet beneath the surface, there is a vast network of information that goes unnoticed. Learning to perceive it is like opening a door to a richer, more intricate world. When you dream, your mind is no longer restricted by the rules you follow while awake. The filters that shape your everyday experience loosen. The boundaries you assume are solid begin to shift. And what appears in that space can feel less like imagination and more like another layer of reality revealing itself. In dreams, time bends. Places merge. People appear with impossible accuracy or impossible symbolism. You navigate scenes that feel constructed from something deeper than memory. It raises a question most people never consider. What if dreaming doesn't distort reality? What if it exposes parts of it your waking mind normally can't access? The subconscious is not random. It is constantly absorbing patterns, connections, and signals you overlook. When you sleep, those signals are no longer buried under noise. They rise, they arrange themselves. They show you meanings and structures that waking perception often hides. Some dream experiences feel more real than real. Colors are richer, emotions are amplified. Awareness sharpens in ways that are hard to explain. Instead of asking why dreams feel so vivid, you might ask why waking life feels so limited. Dreams might be the mind's way of showing you the layers beneath the everyday version of reality. Not fantasy, but a deeper blueprint, a space where the unnoticed becomes visible and the hidden becomes obvious, a space where patterns speak, connections form instantly, and meaning is everywhere. Maybe dreaming is not an escape from reality. Maybe it is an encounter with more of it, becoming aware of what's happening underneath waking life. This awareness does not only apply to waking life. At night, your subconscious continues to process, connect, and interpret. Dreams are a space where these hidden layers become more visible. In dreams, the patterns and structures of your mind can be observed directly, and your attention can explore dimensions of reality that are normally invisible. Lucid dreaming allows you to step into this space consciously. By noticing the unnoticed, by observing patterns and subtle shifts, you can practice awareness in a world where the ordinary rules do not always apply. This trains your mind to perceive not just what is apparent, but what is hidden. The more you engage with these subtle layers, the more your waking perception begins to expand. You start to see the threads connecting events, the hidden rhythms guiding daily life, and the influence of your own attention on the world. Awareness becomes a skill, and reality becomes a landscape you can explore with intention. Dreams may not be random. They could be a window into aspects of reality that your waking mind cannot access. In dreams, the usual rules of time, space, and logic loosen, allowing connections and patterns to appear that are invisible during the day. What if these dream experiences are more than your imagination? What if they are glimpses of structures, relationships, and information that exist just beyond ordinary perception? The surreal events, symbols, and scenarios could be showing you hidden layers of the world. Lucid dreams make it possible to explore this space consciously. By noticing patterns, interactions, and symbols, you may begin to uncover connections that extend beyond the dream itself, hinting at a reality richer than you assumed. Even ordinary dreams carry subtle signals. A fleeting image, an unusual coincidence, or a persistent symbol might be drawing your attention to elements of reality that usually remain hidden. By observing them carefully, you can start to understand the deeper architecture of your environment, mind, and experiences. Dreams may be a bridge, a way for your awareness to encounter layers of reality that cannot be perceived directly while awake. The patterns they reveal could provide insight into the invisible threads that shape life, thought, and perception. The more you engage with these experiences, the more you begin to see how much of reality is normally filtered out. Dreams could be showing you what exists beyond ordinary attention, revealing a world you have never fully noticed. The reality you normally experience is only a fraction of what exists. Most of it goes unnoticed, quietly influencing your life and shaping your perception. By paying attention, observing patterns, and noticing the overlooked details, you begin to uncover the hidden layers that are always present. Dreams may be one of the clearest ways to glimpse these layers. They allow your mind to explore without the usual constraints, revealing connections, patterns, and structures that remain invisible in waking life. What appears surreal or impossible might be pointing to truths that your conscious awareness can't yet fully grasp. Awareness becomes the key. By cultivating it both while awake and while dreaming, you start to perceive a reality that is far richer, more interconnected, and more intricate than most people ever notice. Observation is not passive. It is an active engagement with the world, a way to discover the hidden threads that shape events, emotions, and experiences. The unseen is not absent. It is waiting to be revealed to those who look carefully, question assumptions, and explore with curiosity. The layers of reality are always there, quietly guiding and influencing. Dreams may show you where to look, but the full depth is available to anyone willing to notice, explore, and awaken to what has always been present.